The Trump people sent out a memo yesterday, this is first report in the Washington Post, that contrary to what Dinner was reporting, they have 1,400 delegates. They're convinced that when they get to Cleveland, they're going to have 1,400 delegates, much more than the 1,237 that they would need. I know you're probably as confused as I am. But bottom line, they're trying to avoid any controversy before they get to Cleveland because they fear, maybe for good reason, given the dust-up with the party, that if they don't have those 1,237 in hand, they're not going to win this thing. That's just the real facts. So Real Clear Politics reporter Rebecca Berg. Do you think, Rebecca, he's going to, that is Donald Trump, secure this thing by the time they get to the convention?
You know, Neil, as you pointed out, the unbound delegates are going to be critical in answering that question. So it could be that he is within 100 or so delegates going into Cleveland, short of locking up the nomination, as many projections are showing now. But those delegates will be in play. My thinking at this stage, looking at how the delegate selection process has gone thus far, including for some of those unbound delegates, is that actually Trump will be short going into a contested convention, an open convention, and as a result of those unbound delegates and not being able to sway them ultimately. But really, it's hard to predict at this point because we've never seen what would happen in that scenario, which would be essentially an extension of the primary process for the 6 weeks in between the end of the primary leading up to the convention. It would be an amazing lobbying effort for those few delegates to really sway the way the nomination will go.
You know, is it your opinion, too, just my 2 cents here, I think if he's one delegate short, no one's going to give him anything. And so he's got to secure this thing before that first ballot. And if he doesn't, I don't think he's going to get it. What do you think?
Oh, I think you're absolutely right. And if you look at the delegate selection process thus far, Cruz has completely dominated across the country. There's no question about that. You would see a lot of attrition from Donald Trump's delegates to other candidates on that second ballot, which is why Donald Trump's team is hoping and trying to lock this up before the convention, or if not before the convention, to at least come close enough that those unbound delegates will feel obligated, feel pressure to support Donald Trump at the convention. And that's why we're seeing him sort of mount this campaign to win over Republicans and say, look, this would be tantamount to stealing the convention, stealing the nomination if another candidate were to swoop in when I have the most delegates, when I clearly have a lead in the popular vote. And so that's the strategy behind what he is saying right now. He's hoping that he can at least pressure these delegates to support him, even if he's short.
But he's always sending that message out ahead of Pennsylvania next week. I think 54 or so of those delegates go as an uncommitted slate, right?
Exactly.
So if he wins the state, if he, let's say, he wins the state, and that wouldn't that delegation represent the will of the voters there, or could that, you know, be a source of contention?
It will absolutely be a source of contention. It's interesting that Pennsylvania is in play because the last contested convention for Republicans in '76, Reagan picked as his would-be running mate a senator from Pennsylvania to try to sway that delegation in advance of the convention. Then in Kansas City, we could see a similar situation here leading up to the convention in Cleveland, where Pennsylvania is the key.
All right. Thank you very much, Rebecca. Good stuff. It's going to be interesting.
Thank you,
I
Neil.
have a feeling.